Fishing Wisconsin 2012 here today. I'm just going to start coming out with some tactics videos here. First one is going to be on swim jigging. Where to fish swim jigs, what types of swim jigs there are, what should you use for trailers and colors and stuff like that. So let's get started just with the types of swim jigs. Now there's really two types of swim jigs. You have bladed swim jigs and just a regular swim jig. As you can see, this is a chatterbait, Z-Man original chatterbait. It's also it's a bladed swim jig. As you can see, there's a blade right out. Oops. There's the blade right there. And I mean, a lot of people fish these just like spinner baits and stuff like that. This is a white one. And as you can see, that's just your bladed swim jig, typical bladed swim jig. Now this is just your standard swim jig. It just looks like a regular jig, except as you can see, the head design is pointed like that, and your hook eye is pointed out and up, so it's easier to rip through grass than a regular jig. And you got a lot of them just have like a fine little weed guard right here. This is a Strike King, and it's got like a six-piece weed guard here, and it works very well. Here's your other type of swim jig, and if any of you were wondering, this is a Strike King Hack Attack swim jig in Sexy Shad. Now we're going to get to colors. For bladed swim jigs, now this is for Wisconsin, keep in mind, and I'm in southeastern, so it would probably also work for northern Illinois. This white color seems to work very well, and I don't know what it is, if it's the silver blade in the white color, but I've never had any luck with gold bladed swim jigs with a white colored body. I think it's just because it doesn't really match and resemble itself. But for this, I like the white Z-Man chatterbait, as well as the black and blue Z-Man chatterbait. I've just always had luck with this one. One main lake that this one really works well on is Lake Geneva. I've had a lot of luck and success this season skipping docks with this thing on Lake Geneva. And whoever has fished Lake Geneva, you know what I'm talking about. The docks aren't like docks like people imagine them to be, like little piers with steel poles. These docks on every house have about a 10-inch diameter pole. That's the support post, and then there's cross members that are like 2x4s or 2x6s. So those fish have a lot of better cover to hide in on Lake Geneva. That's why I go with the Z-Man chatterbait, and it really pulls them away from that cover. Alright, now we're going to go to regular swim jigs. Now I have found quite a few colors to work, but a lot of Wisconsin people noticed this year that the lakes that we were fishing were very, very, very clear. And there's one color that just blew the rest of them out of the water. This is a Strike King Hack Attack, again, Hack Attack swim jig, but this is the bluegill, and this is just a great bait to be using. This is a very small one, and I fish it on a very small setup. I fish all my swim jigs on a very little setup, but it's just a very good. As you can see, I'll kind of give you a little 360 of it here. There's a swim jig. Got the orange on the bottom of the head. Just right about there, and it's just a great little swim jig to be using. And got the detailed eyes and the weed guard. This is a great one for Wisconsin. You do catch a few pike on it, so if you don't like pike, I guess there's nothing you can really do about that. But that's one color that really works for me in a swim jig. And then another one is the Sexy Shad. This is a good one. This is a little bit heavier weighted swim jig, but I guess it just depends. It depends on what color I fish to what weight I use. And I have one more special color in here, if I can find them. There it is right there. I like to also fish Terminator's line of swim jigs because I can get them for a good price and they're still a good quality swim jig. So this is a Terminator black and blue swim jig with my own crawfish trailer on there, but This jig is just, it's got a special place in my heart. I caught a lot of bass on this last season, and it caught me three of out of 10 of my 5-pounders. So this is a big part of my season last year. So I love that color so much. Now we're gonna get to the setups and where you're gonna be fishing these swim jigs. Actually, no, we're gonna do trailers next. For a bladed swim jig like these, because these have a lot of action with the blade, I like to give them a trailer that has equal amount of action. So on the Z-Man chatterbaits, I love to use not the paddle magic shad, just a regular Lake Fork live magic shad. This is in black and blue. And then another trailer that I like to use is a Zoom Swimmin' Super Fluke Junior. This is in white ice color, and it just gives it a lot of action because that tail just wiggles around there, that boot tail, and it really gives you good action. And the same thing with this. It doesn't have a boot tail, but these joints here, they catch water and they really kick off a lot and just add to the action of that bladed swim jig. Okay, now we're going to get to talking about standard swim jig trailers. When I'm talking standard swim jigs, I'm talking like the Strike Kings and the Terminator and stuff like that. One trailer that has really stood out to me this season has been the Berkley Havoc Sick Fish. I mean, this thing is literally like its name. It is sick. I got a little 3-incher in Sexy Shad here. Great one to be using on the white colored swim jigs, as well as just your natural kind of shiner and stuff color. I go with that Sexy Shad. Anything like a bluegill or a sprayed grass or a watermelon color, I'm going to be going with this little guy right here. This is the herring color, and it is just a beautiful little color. And why I like these so much is if you look at the sick fish tail, it's like a boot, but it's not just flat like normal boot tails. It slides down. It gives the water a chance to kind of brush off nicely. Not very fast, but nicely. Next, we're going to get to the rod and reel that I use. I use Shimano Core on my 6/8 Crucial worm and jig rod. It's a 6'8" medium power, extra fast action, 1/4 to 3/8 ounce. A lot of times, just because I use this for smaller Texas rigs as well, I fish it with 10 or 12 pound fluorocarbon. Right now I got 10 on, and this is just a great reel. This is a Core 50 mg, so it's a smaller model, really compact, lets you skip and flip all you want. But this rod for a medium power has a lot of power. I mean, I was catching, you can see on my Washington Island video, I caught a couple big 5-pound smallies on a crawfish, and they both came off of this combo. So great combo. It is pretty pricey, but I like it. It's definitely been a handy addition to my arsenal. It's good for swim jigging, and it really gets you that sensitivity because it's not a long rod. And Shimano Crucial's blank is just very super sensitive. So I like that about it, and using fluorocarbon line makes it even better. I would recommend, if you're just using it for just swim jigs, to maybe use 20 or 30 pound braid, because it's a lot easier to split through the grass than this fluorocarbon line is, and you're going to have less of a chance of breaking off a fish if they bury themselves into that grass, because that's where you're really going to want to be fishing these swim jigs. Around docks is a pretty good spot, but if you get into weed lines and weed edges, just flip the swim jig in there, cast it over there, bring it through the weeds, and rip it. And when you rip the swim jig free, just like a rattle trap, kind of wait a second and then continue to retrieve. And retrieve, you're just going to want to be, I like to just reel and then just constantly give my rod like twitches every second or two, and just kind of keep my rod doing like that. A lot of times my rod's at about, it's about 45. So I'm just reeling in and just popping it constantly, and it gives it a little jump action. A lot of times that'll trigger your reaction strikes for a swim jig bite. But that's been all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. You're going to have a lot of helpful tips for you guys this winter. Been fishing Wisconsin 2012. See ya for next week's episode.